Well, Canada has crossed an ethical Rubicon by harvesting organs from assisted suicide. This is Canada's MAID program. We've been talking about it for years. Recently, the first heart transplant was transplanted from a euthanized person into a 59-year-old American man with heart failure. Now, this is not the first organ that was harvested from the MAID program, but it is the first heart. Now, we're going to get to all of the many ethical issues in a second, but first, one of them is national. How did an American man get access to this heart? Well, according to reports, the organs are supposed to be allocated to a wait list and supposed to go first to patients in Ontario and then wider Canada before it can be offered to the U.S. So are you telling me that no other Canadian needed a heart? That this person volunteered to donate their heart and it went across American borders because there's no one in Canada who needed this? Well, that sounds statistically improbable, doesn't it? Canada has hundreds of patients on the cardiac transplant list at any time, according to the Canadian Institute for Health Information. As of late last year, about 190 Canadians were waiting for a heart transplant. So if I were Canadian, I would be very curious how an American skipped the line. Wouldn't you? Hearts are extremely scarce. Recipients wait years for a transplant. So for this heart to have not been needed by a single Canadian, that's strange. That sounds strange to me. It doesn't sound right. Now, think about the timing of this. This is also very concerning. The patient is told, hey, someone's willing to die for you and give you their heart. So you got to get your butt into surgery at the same time this person's dying, and you accept that ethical quandary. Yep. Okay, I'm going to take it. Now, look how they report this timing. They say that within 7 minutes of death, the team said, yep, that person's dead. We're all good. They carve him up. They have the heart transplanted across the border. 6 hours later in Pennsylvania, that heart's put into a new person. Now, I don't know about medical practices in Canada, but this short period of time, 7 minutes, gives me pause, especially after in America, HHS Director RFK Jr. released this report in July showing that U.S. hospitals have been harvesting organs from patients who were, in the words of Monty Python, not dead yet. This is that report. It showed that in the hundreds of cases that HHS reviewed of organ donations, nearly 1/3 of the patients were not fully dead yet when they started taking the organs. They showed, quote, neurological signs incompatible with organ donation. In other words, still alive. Now, we don't know if this is done in Canada, but it sure would give me pause if I had been signed up to be carved up for MAID. Harvesting of MAID organs is called ODE. It stands for Organ Donation After Euthanasia. And not surprisingly, Canada is the leader of ODE. A Dutch study indicated that of 286 instances leading up to MAID in 2021, 136 of them were Canadian. This was before MAID even got off the ground, before it was popular in 2021. And it is popular now. According to this official report from 2023, about 4.7% of Canadians who died in that given year died from MAID. That's, you guys, 1 in 21 deaths in Canada is from MAID.
That's insane.
1 in 21.
This
These
is
are
demonic.
official government statistics. Now, when I heard that, I was like, oh, someone's extrapolating. No, that's government data, which means it's probably conservative.
Right. It's probably worse than that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're feeling depressed. Why don't you consider MAID so you can, kill yourself?
Well, MAID is not supposed to be offered to people with mental health as their only condition. We're going to talk about that a little bit more because even people who support MAID have objected to organ harvesting from euthanized people because it creates this risk of death coercion, which indeed there is evidence of that. People who don't even have terminal illness have been informed about MAID from their doctors. And imagine a system, we have it, where vulnerable people are talked into dying so that their healthy organs can be passed on to the wealthy. That is the dystopic reality we're living in. And it raises disturbing questions. Canada sells us like we like MAID because we're all about compassion here. We don't want people to suffer. Let's give them a compassionate way out. But you have to wonder, was it ever really about compassion, or was it destined to serve this institutional convenience, namely a pipeline for organs, budgets, bureaucratic efficiency designed and sold as mercy? I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You know, doctors don't learn to do things unless they can do it at scale, meaning it's profitable. So there is clearly a profit motive behind MAID. Do you wish that you could have that double chin disappear? Now, there's a news flash, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at your jawline, it does tell your age. That's why we want to tell you about Genucel's new neckline lift with dual peptide and MDL technology. Genucel's most advanced technology ever not only tightens the saggy skin around your neck and chin, but it plumps the lipophilic, which is the layers of your skin that contours and defines the neckline, within minutes. Using peptides and lactones together for the first time works amazingly quick, and the results get better every day. So check out Genucel's MDL technology and their brand new neck lift line, specifically targeting the delicate skin on their neck area. For healthy, younger looking skin, you'll see your mirror smile back at you, or 100% of your money back. No questions asked. You get 120 days money back guarantee if you don't like it. So order now and get the Genucel for immediate effects for noticeable results in minutes with your order. No double chin, no turkey neck, no sagging neckline, because nobody needs to know your age unless you want them to. Go to genucel.com/redacted, order now and get free shipping. That's genucel.com/redacted. One more time, genucel.com/redacted. And before we end this segment, I'd like to give you this update on the Canadian government's efforts to extend MAID not only to people with a mental illness as their only condition for MAID, and minors. Now, currently, MAID is supposed to exclude people under 18 and people who only want to die due to mental illness. And we've shown you the documents before, how they also include in like mental distress, poverty. Like, you're upset about your own poorness, you could die. You could, maybe raise yourself up by your bootstraps, or you could die. But the government has proposed changing this so that people under 18 and the mentally ill can apply for MAID and just die if they want to. Now, this document we showed you in February of 2024, it put those changes on hold until 2027. Now, they did this because they don't have medical guidelines to support it. So they had this special joint committee on MAID sessions, and not a single practicing psychiatrist or physician came forward to testify in favor of killing people with mental illness or minors. Not one. So the government said, well, then they didn't say, okay, then we won't do it. They said, let's put this off for 3 years and try later.
And by the way, they'll sneak it in. They're going to sneak it in next time. It won't get as much headlines, and they'll slide it right in. Yeah, well, take a look at how they said. They said we need more time to come up with supports, guidelines, and standards. They don't have them. They want to create them. They're literally giving themselves until 2027 to make euthanasia for minors and the mentally ill look medically acceptable. So they're going to have to find some Frankenstein doctor who will sign off on this for the whole country. Now, another underreported bit of this is that they also want to write the laws so that if they do extend this to minors, they would exclude the parents from this decision, meaning they wouldn't even notify the parents that their child has signed up for euthanasia. Can you imagine? Your child applies to die, is granted this by the government, and it's totally out of your hands. That's a nightmare. So the Canadian government continues to insist, again, that MAID is about compassion. It's clearly not about compassion for the parents or family members or even the donor, given that you only get 7 minutes before your organs now no longer belong to you. And everything looks like this is just perfecting death on a schedule. And now even training doctors to supply the organs and expanding the clientele to the young and the mentally ill. At what point, you guys, do we stop calling this assistance and call it what it is? People want me to give my Canadian salute like I gave last week, which is the big middle finger to Canada. Right. I won't do that, but I will point out also the fentanyl deaths, Vancouver specifically, and this was linked to this as well. MAID managed to now partner with a lot of these fentanyl deaths in these young people because younger organs are far more attractive, right? So not stopping the flow of fentanyl into your country that's coming right through your ports right there in Vancouver, these young people die. The MAID system has, of course, collaborated with a lot of those fentanyl deaths to be able to get those organs and harvest those organs from young people in Canada as well.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. What are you saying? Like they're taking fentanyl addicts and saying, oh, you're too far gone. You might as well get MAID. Oh, okay. That has nothing to do with MAID. Then they can organ harvest from drug deaths.
Right. They can organ harvest from drug deaths. So anybody who's in those hospitals, they can watch them, they can swoop in. And then, of course, anybody who is right after death, they swoop in with the organ harvesting.
And in certain areas of Canada, they assume organ harvesting consent instead of making you opt into it.
That's my point. Exactly.
Right.
It's just an assumption that you want to give up your organs. And so who better to prey on than all of these young people who are dying of fentanyl death? And these organs are very lucrative. I mean,
why would you want a fentanyl addict's liver?
I don't know. I mean, do you get to know where these things come from? Because at the end of the day, are they cataloging? Oh, this one came from a fentanyl overdose.
Well, I assume this person in Pittsburgh who got a Canadian heart knew that the person had ALS. You would have to, wouldn't you want to know basic things about the heart you're about to buy?
I mean, I don't know. The black market for this. I mean, we've covered it deeply about Ukraine and the massive organ harvesting operation in Ukraine.
I mean, it's not like that, I'd like to see the maintenance log on your car. Like, you definitely want to see it on your organ.
Your Carfax report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I see the Carfax for that heart before I accept it?
But, the lack of organs, available organs, like, are you going to say, well, we have this one. This was from a fentanyl overdose. This person died, their heart stopped. Do you want this liver or not? Because this is all we got right now.
Who would want that? You're saying there's a market for it.
I'm saying there's a market for it. And I'm also saying that they're hiding it. I mean, they're hiding it and they're not telling you where these things are coming from. That's the other piece of this.
Well, I also am saying, I'm presenting to you, the audience, if you were terminally ill and you said, well, there's a person willing to die for you, will you get into surgery while that person is put to death? And you have to come up with that sort of ethical quandary and accept that for the rest of your life. I think most of us would have pause about it and say, well, okay, but it's kind of creepy. I'm waiting for that person to die so that their organ can go into me. Did you ever see the movie Return to Me with
No,
who's in that?
David Duchovny.
David Duchovny. I loved that movie. Yeah, it's sort of, it presents sort of this challenge of like, the ethically accepting someone else's organ, even if you needed it. I just can't believe we're living this way.
Yeah, it's deeply demonic and it's transhuman. I mean, that's exactly what you're seeing in Canada right now, this transhumanism. It's deeply disturbing.